If you're a fan of the podcast and you want to support us to bring you better content on a more consistent level, head on over to patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast, and for as little as £2 a month you get a bonus guest podcast every Friday, the extra Sly Guy Podcast in your ears every Monday, as well as bonus content too. You get early access to tickets that I do for gigs and shows such as the live podcast, and other bits and bobs, and it really helps the show. You know, we've been able to get guests on the podcast recently just to change it up a little bit, to let you see what it's like over on Patreon. So if you want to see all the other guest episodes, including visits from people like Psychic Glenn, Annette Kelly, Danny Simpson, Rhys McClenaghan, James Hume, et al., you can head on over to www.patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. Guys, I am back in the Ulster Hall for my biggest ever show on Saturday the 10th of September 2022. My new show, Bits and Pieces, is shaping up to be my best show yet, and I hope you guys will come and join me. Tickets are now available across Ticketmaster and the Ulster Hall website. You can get tickets on the ground floor, or you can get the balcony, so you can get anywhere you want, the best seats in the house, to come and see my new show. I'm excited to be doing the show. I can't wait for you guys to see it, and let's all come and party on the 10th of September. Don't know why I'm doing that, I'm too old, but it's worth it. Guys, we've got a lot of fun for you. On the 24th of June, the Sly Guy Podcast is going live once again from the home of the live Sly Guy Podcast, the Strand Arts Centre in Belfast. And this week, this month, this year, this time, the guests on the live Sly Guy Podcast are none other than Ciaran Bartlett and Micky Bartlett. On top of that, we'll have the live podcast, of course. We'll have some stand-up thrown in there too. And it's all a fun, goosey time for everyone that just likes to let loose like a goose. It's a bring your own event, so the ticket price is £15. You get to bring your own beer, you get to bring your own booze, your wine, your buckfast, bring whatever the hell you want. It's on you, but it's worth it. The last one was such a fun podcast. It was a really great night. The podcast was appearing on Patreon afterwards, but you know, it had to be edited because what goes on at live podcasts are pretty cheeky, so you need to be there to see it. But tickets are on sale for that now, and you can get them straight away by the link in the bio. The Sly Guy Podcast is brought to you proudly in association with Phat Bastrd Burger. Phat Bastrd Burger, in my opinion, is the best burger takeaway in the country. And hey, if you think my opinion doesn't matter for shit, it's a fact as well, because Phat Bastrd Burger won the best takeaway burger in the country at the NI Takeaway Awards 2022. Whether you like a fat bastard, a porky fat bastard, a cheesy fat bastard, or indeed you may be crazy for cock, Phat Bastrd have you covered with delicious burgers that are both either meaty if you like a bit of meat, or chickeny if you like a bit of chickeny, and if you're a little bit, vegan and vegetarian, they've got options for you as well. All I'm saying is it's worth checking out. Come to the city of Bangor to see more than the ducks. Come to get a Phat Bastrd Burger on the high street in my beloved hometown of Bangor. And check Phat Bastrd Burger out on social media as well. They've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the works. And if you're looking to get your first order in the app, download their bespoke app for 10% off your first order. And listen, it would be remiss of me to just be shouting out Phat Bastrd Burger without shouting out their sister as well, Baby Adrianos Mexicanos, who, by the way, is now officially the best Mexican in the country 2022. So if you like Mexican food or you like burgers, get to 9 High Street in Bangor. Check them out. Davey sent you, and Davey recommends. The Sly Guy Podcast is also brought to you in association with Modest Beer. Modest, like myself, they carved out their path. They developed their route right here in Hollywood, County Down. But much like myself, Modest have grown. They've expanded and they've had to fly the nest, and they're now elsewhere, but they're still making the most delicious beers, pilsners, lagers, stouts, whatever you want for you. And this is why I'm here to sing their praises, because they won't do it themselves, because hey, they're modest by name and modest by nature. But if you want to support Modest and check them out, go to their website www.modestbeer.co.uk, where you can see not only their wide range of delicious beers, but also, hey, you can check out their pretty stylish merch as well. www.modestbeer.co.uk. And if you want to follow them on socials, their handle's simple and modest at Modest Beer. Guys, enjoy the show.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to the Sly Guy Podcast. You know what? we are keeping the ball rolling, people. We wanted to showcase what we're all about here at the Sly Guy Podcast whenever we have guest episodes over on Patreon. So we've decided to, do a few guest episodes for people to enjoy just generally. And this week I have a comedy juggernaut. I have one of my favourite comedians and one of my favourite guys, Paddy McDonnell, on the show. People have been asking to get Paddy on the show. And listen, if you ask, you will receive. So this week's episode features my friend and yours, the legend that is Paddy McDonnell. Enjoy the show. There you go. Well, Paddy, was crack.
That's happening.
Just
all
before,
good.
we were just starting talking there before we go anywhere about the chat you and Willie had, the debate on Mudblood. We need to weigh into that. Well, you were telling me Willie's view is what when it comes to...
Well, Willie's... What basically happened was, to give the story for your listeners, yeah. I've had a lot of young fellas approach me
okay.
and send me dick pics, and even though it's well known that I'm married and have kids, right?
Is there some vibe you're giving off that I
don't
see?
know. Yeah. I don't know. And do you know what? I'm actually surprised about it, because like what happened was the guy in the bath basically was rubbing my back and then invited me into the toilets, and I was like, I don't do coke.
Just a random guy?
Yeah.
Right,
I'd never met him before. But apparently he had sent me photographs on thing, which I found in message requests after, right? So this guy says to me, do you want to come in? In a young, early 20s, similar to Willie in a sense. Real good looking young fella, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so not that similar to him?
And I was doesn't look like Willie at all, right? But it was one of them ones, like tall, handsome young fella. Do you know, one of them ones, if you've seen him in the gym, you go, fuck, the birds love him. So he invited me in the toilets. I says, I don't do coke. And he says, no, it's not for coke. And I says, well, what do you want me to go in the toilets for? And he went, what do you think? And I went, I don't know, that's why I'm asking. And I don't get asked to go in the toilets that much. Yeah. And he was like, well, we can go in there and see what happens. And I says, well, normally I go in there and have a shade. I'll go there a piece. And he says, well, I'm not into that. And I says, well, what are you talking about? And he says, we can go in there and somebody can suck something. And I went, I'm not gay. And he went, none of the fellas I go with are gay. And I went, are you raiding them? And he went, yeah. Are you sucking their dick? Are they sucking it? Yeah. And I went, well then they're gay. It doesn't matter if they're married and have kids. They're gay. If they have them tendencies, they're gay. I'm not gay. And here's me, I have nothing against it, not one bit. I've loads of friends who's gay, and it's just not me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And what was Willie saying that's...
Willie's saying that you can sleep with another fella, be married, sleep with another fella, and it's not gay.
No. Well...
And look, it's a debate, that's maybe my point of view, but what I said to him was, it's like my dad goes into my man and goes, I don't drink, but he'll have fucking 2 pints a week. He fucking drinks alcohol. But he goes, I'm not a drinker. You drink. You have a drink. It's like somebody saying they don't smoke, but they smoke. It's if you do it, you do it, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But what I was just sort of saying to that fella was, if you're sleeping with these fellas, then they're gay.
See, I remember I did a course in work. It was conversion therapy. No, I did a course in work, and it was like about all the correct terms for like LGBT in work and how you did it. So part of the course was you had to fill out a form at the start. What are you? Heterosexual, blah blah. There's so many different variations. I remember asking the question to the guy, because one of the terms on the form was man who has sex with men. So there was gay on that, but then separate to that was man who has sex with men. I says, see that? And he goes, yeah. Does gay not cover that? And he goes, no. And you go, you're a grown up, but you sort of turn into a child again, because I couldn't get my head around it. I was going, but surely that. And he goes, no, because there's some men out there who would not say they're gay, but they would have sex with men. I was going, but it doesn't matter if that's what they say or not. And he was like, listen, some people don't. Like, some people...
It's like an alcoholic going to the AA meetings and going, listen, I'm not an alcoholic, but I get blacked all the time and I have a real issue. Like, I need to get up in the morning and have a bit of drink in me. Yeah. I'm not taking away from anybody, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I just think we're that previous generation, Paddy. I think we're like, it's a bit more... straightforward. Now it's very fluid, and that's cool. But
I find it really strange because a lot of people go to me, "Oh, you must get loads of attention from ladies." No, not really. And men, yes, and young men, and it's like I would show a picture, and girls would go to me, "Jesus Christ, he's gorgeous!" Like, and I'm going, I know, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't get it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I've given off some vibe. I don't know. But he was just saying, "Oh, you're 100% what I go after, like married, beard, wee belly," and I was going, "Fuck me!" Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I just keep an eye out on my shows as well.
Yeah,
keep my eyes peeled for this
I mean,
guy.
you're prime fucking Angus beef for him.
But no, it's wild, like, because like I remember saying to my wife at some point, I was like at the start, I was like, see if I was like, if I could be one thing before I was married, I wish I was gay, because like you say, the amount of attention I get from fellas, like when I was single, like fuck, I would clean up, like they're like, you're a big girl and all.
I always, even when I was thin and younger, I always had, and at that stage it was always older men.
Yeah,
would try and. And here's me. What am I giving off? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, genuinely, am I giving off something? Because I don't think I talk like it, but I don't know. There's just something in the try and chase you for it, and you're going, what the fuck? But I mean, I say about the ladies, like, I don't have any of that. But Andrea came to one of my shows in the Limelight in January, and literally 2 girls were standing talking as she came over to me.
Yeah.
And one of them said, "We were just watching you on stage, or even though you have a bit of weight on you, me and her were saying we would raid you." And I was like,
"That's not very
of
kind."
All the fuck, I know.
Yeah.
Well, straight away it wasn't very nice what they said, but of all the times, literally that one time where somebody said something like that to me, Andrea just happened to be here, and she sort of just stared, and then your woman went, you his wife? And she went, no, and Andrea walked in the hall. And then Andrew says, "Why didn't you come straight away in?" And I went, "Because I was sitting saying to her, you're not being very nice to me here.
Yeah.
Do you know, you want a photograph and you want this and you want that, but you're saying stuff like that to me. Here's me. It's not really impressing me."
Yeah.
And Andrew was like, "You should just walked away." And I went, "You can't really do that.
See, that
you have to address it."
Yeah, that's also the thing too. I think that it's hard to explain to people that don't, like, if people come to your shows and want to you speak to them, because I think we're would be of the same ilk that if you're grateful of them coming to see you,
course,
and you say, they're
even
coming,
if they're calling you fat cunt.
It's like, like the amount of people tell me, they go, "Do you know?" Like, and you've done it. That time we were in Copeland, someone goes to me, "Do you know you're losing your hair?" I'm like, "I'm a fuck."
Did I say
no, you said, you just one day go, "You know that stuff you can sprinkle on your head? It covers in the hair. Do you ever use that?" I went, "No, I haven't yet."
Or spray.
Yeah, like there's a spray you can get in, but I sweat, you see, so I put it in, it'd be run down my face. I look like something out of The Grudge.
You're a wrestler.
It'd be fucking bad look. But show you this, I did a bit of makeup there last week for a show I'm doing. I'm recording this week, and they're making me into an alien, but they made me bald, and I suit it. I mean, I tell you what,
that's a good look.
The bald head, that's going to maybe be the new move.
I'm not even joking. You know who you rated me over when you showed me a photo?
Who?
Will Smith, when he done the genie, and
that's similar.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Ben, stick up a comparison photo there with Ben.
You really do. Like, that's who you look like. You look good in that. I would actually go with that red look.
See, maybe that's what because there's guys out there now. Next show you'll be at, there'll be a fella with red paint. Do you want to come to the toilet with me? Like, fuck's sake, why does that?
Guy dressed up as a genie.
Yeah, like, here, I'll give you something to rub.
Rub my lamp, Italian. But people think stand up has this glamorous thing.
Oh,
they've no idea. No. There's no glam in it at all.
No, and see, to the outside, I've tried to say before, and then when I started going with Catherine at the start, I said, "Oh, come to this gig." She was all like, "Oh, this is going to be cool," and then it's just like 4 fellas sitting in a dingy wee mop room, being like, "All right, what are you up to?"
Sitting on top of kegs if you're lucky.
Just having a fucking Diet Coke and sitting there being like, "Well, what are you talking about tonight?" Oh, fucking. And then, see, I'm way home here after this, what's...
And normally me, with my autism flying out of me, started banging stuff.
Remember the time, Micky, back at Copeland, I was down about to go on to start the night, and I heard a banging at the window, looked up, you're there with a bicycle helmet on, here for fuck's sake. Oh, but it's like someone was saying about there should be something done, like a documentary behind the scenes, but I said that would be boring. See the amount of stuff, it would be boring. If you made a documentary.
It would be boring, but see, in the same sense too, like I remember Ciaran saying to me, fucking this room, and he says to me about like the stuff that I talk about off stage, like you should start doing it. And it's now that I can, the likes of the bumper stories and stuff like that that's came out, have all came out because a lot of you guys were saying to me, you need to do ad stuff
Yeah.
on stage, but I was going, how much of this people going to believe? But no, the people do believe it. Some don't like them. You know what I mean? It's them true stories that people seem to love.
That's what I've certainly found is like whenever people are, you tell the relatable stuff, and the real, like my last show I did, my opener and my closer were just two things that just actually happened. Obviously you ham them up a bit for the sake of stand up, but the first one was I was going out for a night and my baby shit in the bath, and that was the first time she'd ever shit in the bath, and I was fucking not knowing what to do with it, so that became the opener of my last show. And then my closer was a bit about my mum thinking it died when I was out walking the dog. She thought I was looking terrible one day, and I went out to walk the dog and he wasn't come back, and I laid down to pretend to be dead, and she came out to walk the dog and just saw me from a distance lying flat down the ground.
Two great bits, by the way.
You know, so it was...
And I've noticed that about you and your stand-up, like, since you've got married and have kids. It's because a lot of you weren't married and had kids whenever I was doing it all, and then now you are all coming till the fore and doing it, and I was going, well, that's all the stuff I was doing back then, because I thought that's more what people could relate to. I didn't really think people would relate to me doing joinery or stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be joinery. Everybody, whether they've worked in an office or fucking anywhere, have worked with a lunatic like Bumper or came across a person like that. So I sort of went that way, but seeing you and Ciaran starting to do stuff about kids and stuff like that, or I mean, where you just didn't have kids for so long, and I was like, fuck.
But see, that's sort of been for me like the thing that's maybe kind of made me go, fuck, actually this, because you know you write stuff you think people will like, and then you get to the point where you just write the stuff you're like, well, I like this and this is funny. I think with the kids, for me, that was the stuff that I was like, this is my best stuff. It's the stuff since I've had the kids. And again, the relatable stuff, like obviously I am a bit for the fucking misery and moaning and griping about the kids and the wife and all, and that's, you know, not the way real life is. But then you sort of go, you don't want to come up and say how fucking great everything is. People go, well, look at that. So, you know, and then actually recently with the new show I'm doing, I'd thought I'm actually going to maybe steer into the more day-to-day stuff and not so much just kids and a wife, and I think it's you know, it's definitely working, and I'm enjoying, like at the minute, I don't know whether that's because of COVID and having it taken away from me, but I'm enjoying stand-up more now than I ever have been.
I think we're all just glad to be back out.
And I think it's like I one thing I do get fucking angry about is the scene we have here. Like, I think it's such a good scene. I'm sort of going, like, there should be people screaming out to do something with this group of people that we have here at the minute, and I think if that's nothing's done, it's an absolute crying shame. So I think that's why we've got to try and push it.
It's the healthiest I've seen it, and it's everyone, there's plenty of room for everybody, and everyone is doing different. Everyone is different in their own way, and that's what comedy's about. I mean, there could be 10 people that like me that don't go to your show, and then there could be 10 people that go to your show, don't go to my show, and then there could be a mix of fucking 7 that do come. It's just one of them, and I think the variety's good over here. Like, I've been to England and I've gigged round it, and not so much Scotland, but I've gigged England, and genuinely they don't have the variety that we have here. They don't, like, and I know people probably argue and say there's not enough women, but you know, it's the women that need to come out and start doing stand-up and get good at it. We have Diona, which we're very great act. Trees is a great act. Even Sarah Jade is a good act. So it's one of them ones where people go, oh, you don't have variety before, because I've just realised.
Do you know what? It's like, I think a lot of that's too down to like a numbers game as well. There's just there's, say you have 100 fellas doing stand-up for every couple of girls, and you know, if we can do something to encourage there to be more, you know, absolutely. We'll go for that. Like, you look at, like,
but the same sense, they can't walk in and just expect to get on an Ulster Hall show with you. Do you know what I mean? That's not going to happen. I mean, there's fellas I know who have started stand up, and I can't offer them to come on my Ulster Hall show because they've only started doing stand up.
See, that's something I think's definitely it's a wee bit of a problem. Yes, it's great and it's open for people, but I think if you're starting off, you have to still cut your teeth. You know, you can't. I think that's maybe one of the, like, I would say at the minute, you probably know more than me for this, but I think the fact the scene's doing so well because there's not that bitchiness that there once was. There's not the backstabbing. We're all,
it's all that, like, you know, we all go on each other's podcasts, we all go to each other's shows, we also, somebody rings up, can you do this, can you do that, and that was what was missing probably before COVID, and I think COVID's made us all go, oh, hold on a wee minute, and and the scene is healthy, and I don't feel a threat for many of the comedians. I actually go to myself, and when I speak to people who's maybe putting me in the path. I'm going, we need this to happen. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, you're offering work to other comedians, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need the other comedians to be doing it. Like a typical example on that mention the venue, but I done a gig there recently, and it could just be my gig every month if I want.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I says, no, you need to get somebody on
Yeah.
here, and then we'll alternative. And they were like, but then you're giving them. And I says, I don't care. It's about keeping that going. I'm going to myself, there's another gig that could potentially be once a month for us all.
Yeah.
And it needs to be variety every month so that people keep coming back.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many comedy clubs just put the same acts on over and over and over and over again, and then they wonder why they're not getting the numbers, or they wonder why, it stops.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah, like I think as well too with new gigs coming up, if people are running them in a way that they work well with the venue, like for example we did the Strand there last couple of Fridays ago. It was you, me, Willie and Diona, and the Strand they came to me initially, said, do you want to run a podcast? And I said yeah, because I did one there a couple of years ago, and it didn't draw numbers. It was when I was doing Boytown. It was a bit of a shambles, our fault, rather not the venue. And they said no, we're looking to try to bring more. And I went in, saw the venue, I was like, this is cracking.
Can I say, when I was on stage I didn't want to come off.
Yeah.
Every act to come off, so
Yeah.
the exact same
And
thing.
it was brilliant. And see, like for a venue like that, the staff were 10 out of 10. They ran it brilliantly. The night was great, and it was a bit different because it's in an old theatre. And I'm now looking at doing the next one. And again, for me, if I'm booking a show, I'm like, right, if I'm doing it here, I want to make sure every act is of a level that's worth the money.
Yeah.
So, and
because
I think
people,
that's,
you don't want people to go, well, fuck, I was boring that 10-15 minutes he was on, or whatever. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to genuinely cover all the bases, but if all the acts are good, people can appreciate that. There's a certain quality to it, and as you say, it's just getting to the stage now where if a venue comes to you, there has to be a proper budget there, a proper realistic view on marketing it, getting people in the door. And I think the good thing about the acts now on the scene is people know who we all are. So genuinely, whereas before COVID, I had 2,000 followers on my Facebook, and I'd done a comedy night, and people would come up to after and go, here, tell you what, I hadn't heard of you before, but I'll definitely come and see it, and they never do. Whereas now, like, from Willie, Diona, me, you, Shane, Colin, fucking, I mean, I could name 20 acts that most people know. And it's really healthy, so people are coming out and wanting to see it.
See, that's the thing. I think, like you're saying about the podcast, going on different podcasts, mixing it in, that's rather than a firing it. It's everyone's. So like if say you were at one of my gigs, people be like, fuck, he's great, I'll follow him. Or I one of your gigs, be like, oh, I liked him, I'll follow him. And then they can get into the stuff. And again, I think it's different enough too. The podcasts are varied enough that you can have different guests on and talk about different things. And I think it's great. And again, hopefully now there'll be opportunities in the next wee while, like with things happening. Like if again, touch wood, if anything further comes to the BLAP I did with Willie, that first thing we'd be doing is like, how can we put some of these local acts into here? Because not based on there's nepotism or the friends, based on the fact they're fucking brilliant and people need to see it. Well,
the great thing too about you and Willie writing and stuff, like, because I don't put that much through. If somebody approaches me, well, it'd be the BBC or whatever, and they come to me and say, will you write this? BBC Scotland came to me before and I wrote sketches. So I don't really do what Lexi, you and Willie's doing. So you have made a name for yourselves now with what you've done there on that TV programme. So there's things in my head and I go, fuck, do you know what? I should go and say, cause I've approached you before and I was like, I think we should do a thing fucking to do with this, or me and you playing bouncers, or there's so many things that I had said to different people, and I see the comedy. Sometimes I don't write it down, but it's made me start to go, right, well, maybe I need to start writing that. Contact Dave, contact Ciaran, Willie, Shane, and say, listen, I have this idea, what do you think of it? And we'll throw it in somewhere and see. See, that's the thing. I think I've been sort of looking more too at like sort of like Northern Ireland screening things, like they're short films, because I was sort of a stand up. If you come up with an idea and go, fuck, that's funny, when you're like, shit, it won't work as a bit of stand up. Could it work as a sketch, or could it fit sort of in somewhere else? Like there's a few wee bits. I always remember there's a fella I worked with, and he was really funny, sort of a classic Belfast man, real old school fella, loved his paper, loved the bookies, loved the pint, and he every day he would sort of say, he'd get us up, put the paper on the arm, go to the toilet and be like, right lads, I'm away for an Eric McKnight. And
that line always stuck to me. So in the BLAP, as the granny goes, I need an Eric McKnight, it was sort of like a wee nod to him, like, you know.
Things,
and
it was
just
stuff that made you laugh.
Yeah, so the wee things like that make you laugh, that maybe you're like, fuck, that's not funny enough to put a bit on it, but as a wee throwaway line here or there, it would work well.
People used to call it a read and write.
Yeah.
But there was an actual shop on Clifton Street.
Yeah.
And the saying was read and write. And people called it a read and write. And I remember, like, my dad used to go, I'm going for a read and write. And I used to go, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
And we were driving up Clifton Street, the van. My dad says, there's a door. And I looked, it was above a door. And I was like, holy fuck, like, why has nobody got a photo of this on fucking Facebook? And I took a photo and put it up. And the building's now knocked down. But the sign was read and write, and it was fucking, here's me, what a name for a fucking business, like it was like a printer or something, I don't know, but I thought it was class, so that's where it came from. And here's me, fuck read and write. So there's lots of stuff I see, but the likes of that time BBC Scotland, the sketches I wrote, if they had done them as actual visual sketches, it would have been amazing.
See, that's something, I think sometimes that's maybe what the problem is between getting stuff done to what, like, I think you sometimes have to make stuff how it is, you know, and sometimes whether it's budget or maybe content reasons, they change it, and then when it comes out the end, it's maybe not what it's meant to be. So I think there needs to almost be a bit. Now, I do think that, like, locally, I think the tide's on its turn. I think they're opening up you know, to new projects, and I think, you know, the people in BC Northern Ireland at the minute are great, and I think that it's hopefully now we can get something across the line.
Well, I mean, I done a thing with Jimon, it was only a talk.
Yeah.
But I mean, from that, like, they came back to me and they were like, look, this was only meant to be 5 minutes. Yeah. He's recorded for an hour, we're going to put yours out on its own. Yeah. Do you know, so I was like, right, okay, so now you're realising that there's a bit of shit. Yeah. There was Jimon turn around and says to him, this guy's great, you know, that's the first time he really sit down and have a go. He says, why is he not doing more stuff for you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's great whenever a bigger act says that too. Yeah. And then, I mean, you just have to see the comments on William of Orange deal. I keep saying it wrong. But see, that's the thing about that too. Everyone, I've got a few comments going, why is it not called Orangefield? It was. That was the initial kind of. And I keep calling it. You know, but that's fair. But it's the way it goes. Yeah, it's the way it goes. But no, I mean, and one of my favourite comments I seen on it was somebody wrote, "I'm a Fenian." And I loved it or something, do you know, it was that, and I was like, that's the fucking thing, like, the messages I get, and the people, there's people follow me, and are friends with me, and they shouldn't be, like, if you look down, the best thing that ever happened, right, and how I sum things up, I always done well when I went in even when I done the gigs for the UDA, or went in till a Protestant and done a gig, they loved it. Yeah. They fucking loved it, and I went, I have more followers and more success in them areas, right? And we were doing Portrush, and a guy stopped me mid-gig and went, mate, I'm up here in the caravan from the Shangle, can I just say something to you? And I says, I'm in the middle of my set. And he went, no, I need to say this. And I was like, go. And he went, you're the most Protestant Fenian I know. Yeah. And I went, mate, I'm not. Yeah. And he went, no, you fucking are. Yeah. And I went, how many Fenians do you know? None. Yeah. Right? So that's my point. It was, he now sees that Fenians aren't that much different from us. From when you're doing stuff, whether it be about kids or fucking growing up. Yeah. Yes, I supported Celtic, he supported Rangers, but he's going to himself, fuck, he's not that much different from me. Yeah. And I was like literally would have lived the other side of the wall from him. From where he was from, the Shagga. So practically, if there wasn't a wall, we were neighbours. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love about it. I love the fact that went out there and people watched it from my community and was like, that was brilliant. That was the thing I think about it, and sort of way I look at things is like, because I'm from mixed marriage, I have grown up both sides of, like, and again, I was sort of more so on my mum's side, so I would have spent like a lot of my childhood going up to Points Pass where she's from. Yep. So we went up there in and around that community and everything, and she lived right beside a Gaelic pitch and everything, and you'd sort of be watching that and seeing the goings on, and I always saw never necessarily the act or the behaviour or the sport or whatever. It was always the community around that, and I was always kind of drawn into,
You know, no matter what, you might see something that's different to you. Like again with the bonfires, I knew nothing about bonfires growing up, nothing. It was only through work that I ended up sort of working with community groups. And again, my perception of bonfires was always what you saw in the media. It was always like a fucking negative, hate-filled thing. Whereas around the build-up to it, there's a lot of buzz about communities, and it's never about the hate and the blah until the
so you know. Act on it,
so I always like that. And I think that's the similarity.
As I say, like if I grew up in the Shankill, I'd have been doing what people do in the Shankill. I'd probably supported Rangers, and more than likely would have been involved in bonfire. I'm more than likely probably involved in marching.
Yeah,
it's I can see where, you know. So I don't like bonfires because of what it does. I see what it's done within the Catholic communities, and that's why they get rid of them. And they got the feeling it was a festival, and that's brilliant. But at the same sense, I'm not going to stand up and go, "You aren't fucking having the bonfire."
Yeah.
You know, my attitude to it would be, well, why don't we try and find something that's similar?
I think you touched on, I think bang on, is like it's the people who maybe aren't associated on the ground with both sides. You know, politicians, higher ups are the ones that create the issues. Whereas if you said that did an experiment, you took a bunch of people, said, right, you're not Billy and you're not Sean. You take your names away, you're just numbers. You can't talk about your background. You just go and have a pint. I guarantee. They get on the crack, the best of the crack, you know.
I was talking about it the other day, and I says, if you met Jamie Bryson, and because when I met him, he was fucking sound, and he apologised for all the negative things he said about me, and I went, well, you know, I'm not going to chase him up on Twitter anymore. You know, we spoke about it, and we've come out the other side. Do you agree with his politics? No, 100% don't. Do I think I could sit and have a pint with him or play on the same football team? Probably.
Yeah.
Do you know? And there's a lot of that should happen, and it doesn't. But I think it's about it's
and class too. That's another thing. So I found working with certain politicians very uppity. You know, and would look down and you're going, you're not. You know.
But that's what I say is that I would say to a lot of Protestant friends that I have, and I would say you don't really have anybody that represents you that actually. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, although people will probably slobber, but I watch some of the Sinn Féin activists, right? Some of them in West Belfast, and genuinely they run youth clubs. And they're planting flowers and painting over graffiti, and that's hands-on community work. So I praise them for it. Do you know what I mean? And if there was a lot more of that on like Shankill or some of them areas where their politician that represents them could be some, I could be wrong here, maybe there is people from there but they don't get voted in or something, but you need people that's fighting your corner. And the thing that I've said to Protestants is, if there is funding for a festival, it's going to be there for you too, because part of the Good Friday Agreement is it has to be equal.
But see, part of that too, what the difference is I think a lot of sort of unionist and loyalist communities and community work, the work there is great. You know, the work they do is brilliant, but there's a gap between them and the politicians. Do you know what I mean? So the people are doing the work, yet voting in people have nothing to do with that. So you look at say someone,
people in the loyalist areas, they're not getting voted in, so they don't have access to the funds, or they don't have access to these grants, or they don't have somebody telling them this is what you could be getting. So they're getting left behind. And
that's what I say. Like, there's what does they say the bonfire builder in the street have in common with a DUP MLA or something? Do you know what I mean? And that's where the gap lies. You know, 100%. And I think, you know, nowadays I just think we should look at day to day. You know, the price of fucking everything's through the roof. Let's deal with that.
100%.
And then
I worry more about, because it'll hit home whenever you have somebody who's laying on a bed in a fucking corridor in the Royal, or somebody's granny or aunt is sitting in a house and she doesn't have coal for the fire or fucking heating oil. That worries me more than fucking shite that's going on top of that. Let's sort that out first. But of course, it's just the way it is. I mean,
because that's one thing that I love. The job I did when I worked as community cohesion, I worked it's covered sort of south and east Belfast and north Belfast, and it was just like I love going into all the community houses, you know, having cups of tea, sitting down, having the crack. Like, some of the funniest stories is just from wee women in the community. Yeah, you know, having the crack.
And they don't even mean to be funny.
No, because I remember one day I was up in. It was in Whitewell, and you know, they're sort of just on the interface with the White City and stuff, and it's one of the only community groups that are cross community, and they're a great group. Like, I really love those guys. And I remember one day to get into their office for the meeting, their like boardroom, you had to walk through like the wee kitchen area. So the kitchen area was always where there was a wee pensioners women's group. I remember one day I went up, finished the meeting, as I was coming downstairs, they were talking about some wee fella from the community. He goes, see, your fucking so and so's opened the shop, and the other woman goes, him a fucking shopkeeper? He goes, he's not a shopkeeper, he's nothing but a bastard. Like that. And they're all, these women going, fuck, he is a bastard. And they're all fucking 80-year-old women. And I swear I came down in the middle of them and they're all calling this fella a bastard. As soon as I came down, they're like, well, love, how are you going? So I'm like, oh no, I'm alright.
Fucking not opening a shop again.
We're so funny. And then it's just that sense of humour we old women have, like they don't bite their tongues.
No.
You know, like I remember I hadn't seen one for a few months, went down, she goes, oh, you've been good to yourself? Pat on my tummy. I said, you cheeky.
Oh, they'll say,
you know,
you?
so they're so funny, and I think that's what I would like to see more of. You know, like working class, just banter,
capture that.
You know, and I think that's the humour.
I remember standing at the top of Way Track, I was black taxiing, and there was a fella walking down the Way Track, there was a fella walking up, and this fella was standing with a tin of beer smoking, and there was another fella walking down. Two fellas, probably in their 20s, and the one with a tin of beer goes, "Yo, dickhead, where are you going?" And he turned around and looked and went, "I'm going to the fucking leisure centre with my fucking bag. Where do you think I'm fucking going? I'm wearing a tracksuit." And he went, "I didn't know where the fuck you were. I thought you made to get fucked out of the house." And he went, "What the fuck are you doing going to the leisure centre here?" He was, "I'm going to train." "Train? Fuck's sake, Wayne, you're fucking knacking. Are you fucking gay or what?" And here he was, "What do I mean am I gay? I'm going training." "I know, but you either have to be gay or fucking not right in the head to fucking do that." And took a big fucking thing of his smoking his fag and his fucking beer, and he went, "Only fucking idiots do that." And I'm looking going, "Mate, you have no, you're standing at 11 o'clock in the morning with a tin of beer and a fucking fag at the top of Way Track, slabbering about somebody going down there, and your man shouted, you'd be Way's doing something fucking about it." And he went, "Ask your fucking man." And here's me, that's poetry, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't have no more to say, he was just like, "Ask your fucking man." And I'm like, he's fucking torturing that fella who's actually trying to do something.
Yeah. But no, I remember I had these two hands. Now, this is the thing too. I'm out of work. I'm technically on a career break, so you know I have to be a little bit careful. But I'm like, hey, who cares? There's this couple. I remember they were like, I had to go and see, and the neighbours were complaining. They're fucking blaring music, and they're two headers, for lack of a better term. But they were both the couple. You know the sort. Both drinkers. This fella and a woman. They're a fucking nightmare. And I went out to them. Apparently they'd been painting the wall outside their house, or doing their house up, and they painted like, you know, Man City blue. It's fucking that colour. And I got to the house and it was just like, you know, it's just like fucking.
Yes,
there was no cohesion to the paint. It was like, for fuck's sake. So I knocked the door and went in. The guy opens the door, blocked, drinking, harp. Go upstairs, she's up there, blocked. And I remember looking around, there's just things like weapons about the place. There was like a golf club or a fucking baseball bat here. I was going, fuck, what's. I remember she just kept calling me Angel Dust, and it was the weirdest name. Like, what are you doing? She's like, well, Angel Dust, what's happening now? I was like, oh, not much, just, you know, I said you were making a bit of noise. She goes, are you not allowed to have a bit of fucking fun, Angel Dust? No. And he goes, oh, we're just fucking trying to live our lives, mate. No. And I was like, alright. He goes, do you want a beer? And I'm like, nah, I can't stay. And it's like, but look, all the well say, just keep the noise down. If you get a chance, tidy up the paint out the front. The neighbours are saying you fucking, because it was quite a nice wee street.
Yeah.
And the neighbour, like, they're just saying you're fucking bringing the look of the area down. Yeah. And he goes, mate, I'll do that now for you, sir. Don't you worry about it. And she goes, yes, Angel Dust, I'll do that for you now. And I said, right, okay, I go. So as I go, get in the car, I'm driving back. Like, this was only about 10 minutes from the office. I'm driving back. Phone rings. It's my boss. And he goes, what have you done? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you make it back that house. He says, why? He goes, you went there to complain about noise and to paint the house. So the two of them were out in the street knocking each other out with tins of paint. So the two of them have gone out to paint the house block, and they ended up having a fight, and he's bucking paint over, and the two of them are digging each other in the street, just Man City paint all over the ground. He goes, you could have made that 10 times worse. So yeah, both of them ended up, I think, getting lifted that day. But it was, and then we saw one of the photos that they'd taken, and her face all covered in paint was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, just the characters you see, and you don't see, you know, that funny. You can't make it up. It's just so, people are so fucking
I went in one time, landlord, I was doing work for this landlord, and he gave me a key, and he says, can you go and change 2 doors up the stairs in this house? And I was like, right, okay. And he says, the girl of the house is 100%, her son's a rabbit. And he punts these doors in, and I says, give me the money to get them changed. Go and change the doors. and I went into the house, opened the door,
Mhm.
and I had my cordless with me,
Yeah.
and a bag of tools, and I came up the stairs, and I looked, and I seen the bathroom door had a fist to it, and I
Yeah.
seen the bedroom door had a fist to it, and I went, I'll take this one off first. So I set the bag of tools down. I was wearing a monkey hat, right?
Yeah.
A Sheila, who the top. It was winter,
Yeah.
and I opened the door, and fucking what? Do you ever see if you open a door and a rat is somewhere and it fucking
Yeah.
tries to squirm? And this fucking guy jumped out the back window
Uh-huh.
of the room. Now
Yeah.
the room was in darkness. I opened the door and he jumped out the back, and all I heard was just a thump.
Yeah.
So out the back of the house, you probably know them, but there was like an outdoor toilet. It wasn't an outdoor toilet, it was a wee extension
Yes.
out the back, which a toilet was in, the wee
Yeah.
back square. He jumped on that, but there was moss on the roof,
Yeah.
so he went sliding and then fell down, and I looked out and he was wrapped around like the whirlybird
Yeah.
in the garden in his boxers.
Yeah.
And he's just looking up, and I went, "Are you alright?" And he went, "As if you give a fuck." And I went, "Why did you jump out the window?" And he says, "You're not here to shoot me."
Yeah.
And I went, "I'm here to fix that door." And he went, "Fuck you, mate, I thought you were here to shoot me." And I went, "Why is there somebody looking to shoot you?" He says, "I have to go get my knees done at 7 o'clock at night." And I just went, "Holy fucking night." Like, so I'm in the house, and he came in, he was fucked, like he was in
Yeah.
some shape. And here he was, "I think you've wrecked my leg." And I went, "Sure, you're not going to get shot tonight anyway." And here was I suppose. And I filled the two doors and fucking, I was just like, Jesus Christ tonight. Out the back fucking window, bump, straight down, fucking whipped himself out. "Oh, I'm getting shot tonight." Like, as calm as you like,
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean?
No, that's fucking brilliant. Like, see that it's the attitude about being shot. Like, I remember as a fella who fucking total wingnut in the state. He'd put a brick through his fella's window, who was well to do in the boys, and I think his dad was associated with another group, and his dad was told, "Right, you need to bring him for an appointment," and he goes, "Nah, I'm not doing it." And they're like, "Well, we'll come bring you too." And he goes, "No sweat." And then they brought him, brought his son. He's like, "Well, I'm not fucking getting me done, so bring both of them." Now the son, he ended up being like, he just like you said, total rocket. Like the guy had no, so he was like in the hospital, fucking giving it this and all. See, Bastrd shot me. Wait till I get out again. He did the same thing again. Got out once he walk in, see breeze block through the same window. It's just a different mindset entirely. It's wild.
Crazy. Absolutely,
You know?
and I know some crazy horses, but that one there, he was like, "Can you not fucking like let me know you were coming?" And I was like, "You're not even meant to be in the house.
Yeah, that's
The landlord doesn't even know you're here."
He's had both his ankles done just for part of the measure.
Let
Jump
me
out the
know,
window.
like,
Yeah.
I've never met you before. What do you want me to do? Put up my Bebo or something?
Oh no, that's the one thing I miss. See the crazy stories you see. Like I remember as a fellow we had, and like he was an alcoholic, but the neighbours were complaining like they live in the row of terrace houses, and I guess cause he go like someone rings me up and goes, "This fucking bastard keeps lighting a chimney in his fucking bedroom and it's fucking smoking all over the flat side." So I went around his house, knocked the door, and the door was ajar. So I poked it open and I looked inside, and there was just blood. Like fuck, it looked like something out of a horror movie, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what's happening here?" So I rang my boss and was like, "Here, this house is
Big one.
like fucking blood everywhere." And she was like, and she goes, I was like, "Should have phoned the police?" She goes, "No, just go in and make sure something's not happened, that he needs help immediately. You might need an ambulance or something." I went, fuck. And that guy's only a kid at the time, so I shit myself going through his house. I got in the living room, looked about, there's blood everywhere. Walked in the hall, blood everywhere. I was like, fuck me, down the stairs and all. And then I went up the stairs and looked in the bathroom, just peered through. I was just red paint, each tins of red paint. He just obviously fucking dropped all over the place. And then I could smell the smoke from the chimney being on. I went in his bedroom, he's just lying there beside the chimney with a thing of stew on top of the chimney, and he's just blocked in the bed, broke all down the side of the bed. Jesus. I just had to go, alright, and left him, and that was fine. I went there and I was in court a couple of days later with another case, and I said to my boss, the housing officer, to go out to check on this fella, because obviously we're following up on him wrecking the place. And she goes, can't send her out by herself, this fella, because he's wild. Can you go with him? I was like, I can't, I'm out of court here, so can you go? Said to my manager. He goes, right, I'll go out. Out there, went to the door, and the door was locked, the house and all. He's like, you can't get in. The fella's ma was there, just can't get into him. And she unlocked the door and went up, and the guy was dead. So not from when I saw him, but after that. But so my boss rang me, he goes, "You're one wee bastard." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "The one day you send me out of fucking..." He says he's on the ambulance and they're like, "Can you give him CPR?" And it's like, well, he's fucking stone cold, like, you know.
He's been dead
and he was like, "You're one wee cunt." And he's like, "Call me on nails or something. You're a wee bastard." No.
There's some things that just... the best one, when I was taxiing, there was this guy I used to pick up, always on the drink, and he lived in a hostel at the bottom of the Waydrock Road, and used to pick him up from the top of the Waydrock, because he was obviously from that estate, but then he was in this hostel, right? So I'd pick him up and he'd get in, and he was a guy in his fucking early 50s, and he fucking spoke like that there, know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he'd open the door and he would see me and he would go, our kid, what's a crack? Because I would give him, whereas your drivers would be nasty with him, right? Yeah. Whereas I went, there's no point being nasty with him because he gets nasty. Yeah. So if you're alright with him, he's alright. He never had enough money. Yeah. He always was 20 or 30p, which wasn't the lads, so I used to go, I let him out of it. So I picked him up this night. I didn't know it was him, and what happened was I pulled up this house in Turf, and he came out the side door and crawled along, right? And he had a wee tiny box in his hand. He was crawling, and he's blocked. So you ever picture somebody trying to be like... somebody trying to be a ninja and they're not like a ninja whatsoever, right? His arse was up above the window and all, and I was going, what the fuck, like, there's a massive taxi at the front door and you're crawling. And he came over and it took him ages to get up, and he opened the door and he's like, alright kid. And he me, what are you whispering for? You know what it is? I feel fucking bad. I feel fucking so bad. Jesus, I feel bad, mate. And he was getting louder, and I went, just fucking get in. Where are you going? I was, go to the garage, I feel fucking bad. And I was like, why do you feel bad? And then I went to myself, wonders he killed somebody in there or something, do you know? And I mean, why do you feel bad? He says, oh fuck. He says, see that wee pie? It was this wee tiny, like a fucking pie in a box. He says, I was in there smoking away and fucking drinking away with my mate. We're all out of drink, we're all out of smokes. And I told him I didn't have money, and I do. I'm going to buy figs now in the garage when we stop here. But he says, I went into his fridge because I'm fucking starving. And he says, that was all was left. There was that and an empty carton of milk. And I went, right. And he says, I feel bad. I fucking took his last fucking thing he had to eat. I feel bad. Jesus, I feel... Hear me, but don't worry about it. Hear me, do you need to go to the garage? Oh, yeah, go to the garage. So we pulled into the garage, and it was only the wee hatch open, right? And I pulled right up against it so that he wasn't falling about the place. And he gets out, and he's standing with your man, and he's going, give us fucking 20 fucking Regal, and you may give me a carton of milk. My mate didn't have any milk, and your mom's going, fucking, he's away to get the milk, and he's standing talking to the window and there's nobody around. He's going, my mate didn't have any milk, so I'm not sure if I have milk, so it's just put it in my main. Give me a carton of milk, give me a blue milk, blue milk, why? And he's standing there, and next minute I heard this car pulling into the petrol station, and it was just like a big fucking stop. And I looked in my mirror like this. So I lifted my phone, I don't know why I done it, and I hit record on it and just set it down so that it recorded the thing. I don't know what made me do it. And the next minute, fucking your man standing up in the window here, and fucking somebody just fucking like the flies, fucking rugby tackled him. And I looked, and he's down, and the bin was everywhere, and the two of them beating the fuck out of each other. And I went, fuck, that must be his mate. From the house, he's realised he's took his pie. And your man came to the windows looking at me going, where is he? And I went, down there. And he's going, I can't see it. And I'm going, well, they're rolling about the ground. So the next minute I get up, and your mom was lying there, and he fucking hit him with the bin. And your wee mom was just lying, they got there. And he get up and he get into the taxi, here was drive. And then we right like, hear me, what about your fuck everything, just get out of here. And hear me, who the fuck's that? Here he was, I don't know. And I went, was that not your mate that you stole the pie from? No, fuck no. Here's me, well, who was it? Here he was. I don't know him, but see, I don't know that kid, but at the same sense I do know him. And here's me, do you know him or not? He says, I knew his family, I don't know him directly. He's just one of them people, he's too far ahead of the posse. And I was laughing like fuck, because he kept saying he's too far ahead of the posse. And I'm going, what the fuck, like? And he's going, know what it is, see your wee man there and all that there, fucking like, what a fuck. I seen him in the bar 2 weeks ago and I said something, and maybe I shouldn't have said it, but fuck me, he took it bad, and here he was. I don't even know how he knew I was in the garage. I mean, nearly I hit me, but I genuinely thought, are you sure it's not him with the pie? No, it's not him with the pie. He says, my day can't get much worse. Fuck me, I've no money, I've no figs now, no milk, no fucking nothing.
No milk.
No drink. And here's me, you made half milk. He says, I made half milk. You made me right. I was buying milk because my mate didn't have fucking any of this thing. And here he was with no figs left, no drink, no fucking nothing. And I'm late getting in the hostel here. I'm going to get pulled off. Fuck, my day can't get any worse. And he's getting out. And say the fucking fare was $4.70.
Yeah.
He says, a $4.20. And here's me. Tell you what, just give me £4. You're a wee fucking gentleman. This day can't get any worse, but you've made it that wee bit better. Hear me? Well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fucking ruin your fucking parade here. He goes, why? Because see, when you were in the garage, I looked at your pal. It's about 2 months out of date. And I had to drive away because I was laughing too much. And he was just stomping the pad, the full road, going, no way. But I had it recorded on my phone, and see, I says to somebody, let them listen. This is the fella in the dabo. Listen to that, and he went, "Fuck me, Paddy, and it's funny as fuck." And here's me, unbelievable. Like, see if I recorded Punters and was in the taxi, and he got it animated.
Yeah,
it would be his fucking. Yeah, he's too far, and I passed it on.
You driving away.
He was just standing squealing. Raging. My day can't get any worse.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry to wreck it for you, but their pie you stole your mate's 2 months out of date. That's why I was still sitting there, you know. But it is fucking mad people that you meet. Like, but see, when I was taxiing, the people I met was fucking unreal. We guy get in one day and he says, here mate, can you get an STD off a toilet seat?
And I went, you gonna know?
I went, mate, I'm not too sure about that. Here's me, but I'm sure if you were rubbing your willy about it or stuff, and something was there, maybe you can't. Oh, but then how about a girl get it off a toilet seat? And I went, no idea. Yeah. I'm literally a taxi driver, and he was like, no, it was just in my doctor, or like, and you see, she caught it off. She told me she caught it off the toilet seat with Thompson's. Yeah. And then I had to go up here and see the doctor, and like I'm going to the doctor. Can you get this off a toilet seat or not? Yeah. And he was going, you need to speak to your girlfriend. Yeah. And he was going, why can you not just fucking tell me if you can get it or not? Yeah. And the doctor's going, you just need to speak to your girlfriend. And then he's going, and then you're going, and I went, do you want me to be honest with you? And he says, oh, and here's me, you definitely can't get it off the toilet seat, and definitely not if you're a girl. And here he was, I was thinking that. See, I said to her, know what she does? She goes in the tab shop and all, tries on all them bikinis and all. And I said to her, don't do it. And I was going, are you fucking seriously? If you're believing her about the fucking toilet seat, and now you're fucking trying to make stuff up for her. And I was going, is he that stupid? Or is he just not wanting to face up to what the truth is here? You know, like she was out in Thompson's, like, and then she was at a party in the New Lodge, but nah, she definitely didn't get it from her. Definitely putting them bikinis on and fucking thing.
So
and I was just like, you fucking stupid bastard. That's the type of people. And the worst one of them all, which was quite sad, was a wee man. He was about 90, and he got into my taxi, didn't say fuck all, and the rain was flying down. It was just depressing. And the taxi was all steamed up, and we got halfway in the journey, and he turned around to me and went, do you know how Wasted Troubles was back? And I'm looking out the window and I'm going, what? And I says, what did you? And he says, 91 on my next birthday. And I went, so you're 91, so you've went through like everything that's basically happened in this country. Because at that stage, I'm going back fucking 10 years. Yeah. So literally from the formation of fucking here and the fucking every problem in every decade, he's been here. Yeah. And I was like, you went through all that, and you wish all that was back? And he went, aye. And I was like, why? And he says, because I can't get anybody to chip my NTL box anymore. At least when the power multis was about the area, you got fake DVDs and fucking your box chipped. He says, get no cunt to do it, man. And I was like, he's willing to let the bombs, the shit and everything come back just so he can watch fucking...
Just so he gets the Sky Sports for free.
He
can watch reruns to give him a head.
What the fuck? It was just like, here he is. It was unreal. Like, that wee man's life is just, fuck it. Bring the troubles back.
No, fucking bomb scares, but at least you can watch Del Boy. You know? Oh, there's a few wee questions here. We'll wrap up here. Oh wow, let's see. I mean, I don't know why I got this notification, but Andy Gorham's sick.
6 months to live.
Yeah, there you go.
Catches everybody.
Yeah, there you go. So he spent his career catching stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see.
I'm glad you said that, not me. It'd be backlash.
Hey, listen, we love everybody. Ciaran, for some reasons, asked what was that smell that last night. I don't know. Do you want to like what's? Listen, I don't want to feed into this, but where's the beef here with you and Ciaran? What's going on?
What did
Where
he
he's
say?
at the minute? He just said, "What was that smell last night?" But I don't know what he means. He was there at the Ulster Sports Club with me, and I didn't see any smell. I don't know what he saw.
Oh, you think he's going on about me?
I don't know. I don't know what, because
there is no beef between me and Ciaran.
I didn't say you were on, so
I don't know where it all came from, but obviously Ciaran must be saying stuff in his podcast for people to think that.
Listen, if you want to say something now here, I'll get back to him. Just look in the camera and say, "Fuck you, Ciaran." We'll cut it. We'll clip it. Stick it out.
Because on the thing, I said in ours, I went, "He's a bastard," and they laughed. Yeah. And we were going to cut that and just have it you saying he's a bastard.
Yeah, look, have it again. We'll make it a super clip. All the podcast you go on, Ciaran's a bastard. Let's see what Curtis has said. If you, Shane, and Willie all get stuck on an island, why would Willie be the first one to die, followed closely by Shane?
Because Willie would die first because he can't reach up to get the coconuts.
Right. And then what if you're on raffling? Say you're what? No. It's on a wee island.
He couldn't reach up to get the puffin eggs.
So you would, I would actually say, I would agree. I would say you would survive on that island with those two.
I would eat the fuck
out
of the
two. I think you'd kill them and eat them.
100%.
That'd be the wise move. But I would
kill Shane first.
I think Shane would actually. I think Willie would probably live longer than Shane on island. Shane would think something. He'd be like, you can eat these berries.
I tell you what I would do. I would get Willie to kill Shane.
Yeah.
Get him, Willie. I would convince Willie to kill Shane, and then we would eat Shane together, and then once that's run down, then I'd do him in.
Yeah, see, he'd probably do himself the guilt.
Who?
Willie? He'd be so sad.
No, you underestimate that wee man. That wee man, he's evil in him.
Yeah. So Ciaran's a bastard, Willie's evil.
Yeah.
Let's see what Brock has said. How's the transition been from taking on comedy full time? Best and worst aspects? Well, the best aspect is just being able to do comedy all the time. You know, that's but the worst is invoicing. I think is the worst. Fucking
paperwork.
The paperwork's
I think
the worst.
The paperwork's always the hardest
part.
I mean, I've always been self-employed until recently. I took a job. Just a wee burp there. Excuse me.
You're excused.
Recently, I took a job which has stayed strange because it took away all. If I was still working as a joiner, I would still have a whole going out and pricing and all that you never really get paid for.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise how much of that I had to do. So I think in the house Andrews realised how better it's got because I'm not out at night times pricing or going to get money or chasing people down the street for money or do you know what I mean? It's just and that's the way it was, self-employed joiner. So this job now it's 9 to sort of 4:30 every day.
Yeah.
It's
great.
Just once I turn my computer off and leave the building, it's done.
The job's done. That's the one thing I do miss about is having the work as the work, but then it's how often do you do the crossover? You know what I mean? So it's tough. You'd be like, especially see during COVID and working from home, you'd have all your gear home. You'd be like, well, I'll work on a bit, and then you don't get paid for it. And then she's like, well, and it's just it's the work. I suppose the work-life balance with anything.
Yeah.
As long as you keep that, you're grand. Because as much as comedy and gigging and all is brilliant, nothing beats spend time with the kids. When you can. So that's the thing that you need to make sure you have the time for that. Otherwise, everyone suffers
that. I
never
really had with the other kids because I was self-employed and then trying to do comedy on top of that. And obviously the comedy, back then I wasn't really getting that much money, or at the start wasn't getting any money, and she was sort of going, are you serious?
Why are you doing this?
Why are you out 4 nights in a row fucking spending our money to go and do this?
Yeah, and then now you can say, hey, the what's the worth? The squeeze is worth the, or the juice is worth the squeeze.
Anything you ever want to do, just push on with it, because as long as you're good at what you do, keep going.
And Chris has said, have you heard any of the GAA catfish story? and heard any similar stories closer to home.
Just seen like a news article up saying so many. That happens every time I'm in this.
I know I don't know what's going on here, but they're cutting bushes for some reason in the police station.
Since I came here,
Yeah.
I was standing outside for 5 minutes. They're like, really need to.
See, that's what they do.
I've had previous in that police station.
That's what happens. See, when the police lift all the gear off people, all the plants, they just plant it in the police station. They sell their own weed.
They sell their own weed.
So that's what they're up to now.
But no, I only seen news clippings of it, so it didn't read into the story, so I don't know too much.
What is the gist? Because I sort of heard a bit about it, but I don't know.
Is it just I don't know. I'm gathering that they're targeting GAA stars.
Yeah.
And they're being stupid enough to get caught.
Yeah. But no, we'll need to look into that.
Yes.
I'll come back.
I don't know too much
with
about
another.
it, I'm sorry.
Niles asked, what are your thoughts on Bangor becoming a city? Well, I first of all delighted with it. Now, I said I did a bit last night. I said, like, on paper, Bangor's as much a city as I'm a jockey, like, but it's good. Hopefully the money will will regenerate the city, and we'll get new shops open and it'll be a better spot. I hope. But I mean, I think I can see the humour in it, and also, sorry, Newton Ards. Oops, it's one of those things.
Newton Ards.
Yeah.
Well, they were trying to get city status.
No, but they'll be raging. They see Bangor and Ards. Bangor and Ards just hate each other.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's an old fucking
fake and all that.
They don't like it. Tale of two. I was going to say Tale of two cities, but Tale of one city, and then a sort of a town, the outlet of a village. Yeah, fucking.
Is it a village or is it?
No, Ards is a town.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's New Town Ards, so it couldn't work. New City Ards, it wouldn't work.
New Town City.
But they hate that Ards.
New Town City. It sounds like a Chinese. Yeah.
But they hate us, like the Ards boys. Not big fans of. You know what? Fuck. I've never said this before. But fuck the police.
Fuck them.
Fuck the police.
Fuck the police.
Who's out doing that?
That's it. Whoop whoop.
But I'll not pick up too much.
NWA.
Anyway.
Fuck the police.
Let's finish these off here. There's a good few other ones. Nope, not going to do that today.
Was that the guy who was asking me to go in the toilet?
No, it involves Googling. I just, today's not the day. John Joe was asked, was Tom the entrepreneur everything that you hoped and dreamed he would be? And more importantly, do you now wake up at 4 a.m. every morning to work? For anyone who doesn't know, I had Tom Smith, the entrepreneur, as a guest on the Patreon podcast. And, I mean, I think I would go as far as to say he was everything I thought he would be. He was exactly what you would expect, and he was grand. But no, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. What are your views on motivation guys and like hype stuff? And
I have a friend who was a footballer and has went on to do that sort of game, and if he's getting a living at it and he's enjoying it, well then
fair play.
I mean, who am I to fucking turn around? And it's the same way. I mean, I'm not going to slobber about somebody marching down a fucking street or lighting a fucking bonfire, or everybody does their own thing. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're in the fucking looking at wee kids, I'm not going to fucking say fair play to you, go for it. Do you know what I mean? Fuck you and that. But I mean, if that's what he does and he's successful, when I met him, he was a fucking alright fella. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I met him face to face. I done a couple of videos, and then he came up to me and was like, "Ha ha ha!" But he says I enjoy the videos and stuff. So I don't really have much to slobber about.
And what about do you does anything like that get you going? Like not Tom, but just generally speaking, the like quotes and motivational quotes. Would you be somebody that buys into that, Paddy? I would look at you and go, nah, I don't think you're into that.
No, it's not me. But in the same sense, there's definitely. There's an element of me probably would sit and has to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not too fucking big headed about it or anything like that, as long as you're humble and realise that you've been successful because you've put work in. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but like standing going, look at me and all. Because there's comedians I know are like that and they're wankers.
But without sounding like an old man, I definitely think there's a new push now that people are like, you need to believe it, and there's no like, you need to fucking work your bollocks off here. It's all, no, if I put it into the air,
if you read it on your ma's living room wall, like, it's not, and the quote's there, but you're still watching Jeremy Kyle and doing fuck all about it, of course it's not going to come and fucking grasp you. But if you do put the work in, it's a fucking genuine thing. Me sitting here fucking, and I train 4 days a week, I'm still a fat bastard, but I mean
but see, that's another thing. I equate the training and diet and stuff to what my mum used to tell me when girls never liked me when I was younger. She goes, it's what's inside that counts. Yeah. She said, "Look, it's what's inside that counts." And she'll tick her. So doing the exercise, you know, it's good for the old insides.
She might be right. It's what you have in the bank. That's what girls like.
Yeah, exactly. Naomi has said, "What would be your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse?"
Weapon of choice, zombie apocalypse. I don't know, what's the best thing for killing fucking zombies?
I don't know, because they always say to get their heads off, so I'd go for a big fucking machete, big machete.
See, I hate all that. I hate cutting and all that.
A bat or a gun. Maybe like a biggest.
Maybe just burn the bastards.
That's a good idea, yeah.
But it stays away, something that goes really far. Because that, you always see the ones with the knives and the fucking thing. They do well in the first 3, and then if there's more than 3, they're fucked.
No, flamethrower's a good call. You set one of the bastards on fire and
burn them.
Push them off. That's good.
Stick a flag tab in.
Michael Jardine has said, if Paddy wasn't working as a comedian, what would his dream job be? Also remember him saying on Mudblood that he's into cars. What's his favourite car he's ever owned, and what's his dream car if money's no object?
My favourite car I owned, I think I spoke about it. I had an XR3i Escort, and I loved it. And then I bought the first real brand new car I bought a Nissan Almera, which isn't really flamboyant or anything like that, but it was a crack of me car, and I just really liked it. Dream car, probably a 1984 911 Porsche, or 911 as people would say. Stop saying it because it's not 911. Probably a Targa top one as well.
Nice. My dream car is a smart car now.
Car.
That's what I want to get, a smart car, so I can just park anywhere.
You in a smart car would just look like Bowser,
like Mario Kart. The only thing is I would soup it up so as to drop banana peels out the back. That'd be all.
Be brilliant.
But no, that's the thing. Me and her, she wants us to get another car. We have a Tucson at the minute, which is a great car for the kids and everything. But we have I have a Fiesta from before, the good old days when I was young, free and single.
You've done a Paddy and kept an old car.
So I've kept it, and then she's like, "We need another car for the kids and all." Blah blah. This isn't good enough. I said, "Well, I like to have a wee run around.
Yeah.
Like if I'm nipping to the shop or I'm going to gigs or whatever." So I said, like, if I ever do well, I want to get a brand new smart car, and you can just nip the gigs in it, and I can park wherever. Like, if you're in the city centre, you can just bop it up with a curb and
you'll not be driving it when the fucking doesn't start it. You drive very low. That's the only thing about smart cars.
They don't. Oh, fuck.
They're fucking really bad. Like, even though Mercedes running gear in them.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll send it to the shop. I'll get it pimped.
I have a nice fucking.
Go send phone Westwood, but
05 Shogun Sport Jeep there that just comes.
don't
I'll
even
do a trade-in with the Fiesta.
she'd be up for it, like. Marco has said, I need to just make sure, what movie or TV role would Paddy love for himself, and why haven't any of those people from UTV and BBC gotten their fingers out and created the long overdue platform for NI comedians?
100%, mate, you're right. Marco, you need to write into them here and say that. I loved watching Love Hate.
Yeah, that was a great show.
And I loved when we done that with Shane and stuff, the Belfast Blues. I would love to make like a serious programme.
Yeah.
I love comedy, and I would love to do like a comedy show and stuff like that, but I would love to do a serious like gangster.
Yeah, from here. See, I don't think that's been done right yet. A good, because
really
there needs to be something, I think, from here that's like not, everyone's always fucking typical silly.
They need to come away even from the paramilitaries. There needs to be a proper like.
Have you seen the Belfast Story film?
The one Richard.
Well, no, Tim's in it. Tim McGarry's in it, and he gets shot, loads, and it's.
No, I don't think I've
But
seen
it's the gist of it is it's about there's a serial killer, but it's a paramilitary. So they kill obviously in the full gear and the gloves and the bath.
I like the fall.
Yeah, I thought it was the best for that.
I like the fall.
But see this show, it's a fucking joke. Like they didn't first start. They didn't get. Sorry if anyone's involved in this, but I mean, they didn't cast me in it, so fuck yes. But
when was this out?
That's probably about 10 years, maybe 5-10 years ago. But they didn't obviously pay to get the license to get the proper PSNI uniforms and all, so they'd made up like a wee fake police force. It looked weird. Tim McGarry gets massacred outside a police station, which it's hard to watch. But during it, they start off. So I think the the paramilitary serial killer like does a kneecap in the shooting. Then it gets more and more ridiculous. There's one bit where like this fella's in a chippy and he's waiting on his chips, and you just see like a fucking guy in a balaclava sneak behind and fucking put poison in the chips, and you're going, how the fuck's no one noticed that I'm walking in the chippy and he's going, and the fella eats the poison chips and off he goes. It's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I think we should do a watch along that. I think that would be Colm Meaney's in it actually. He's the big name in it, but I remember watching that.
How was his Belfast accent?
It was. I think he just did his normal accent. You know, I don't think he went full, but it was like the whole thing. And then how it ends is basically just the United Ireland, and that's kind of the very end of it. So it's very, very, yeah. It's just like it was definitely. It was so because like, see, when you see it and you see the trailer for it, I go, good. This is going to be a good.
And it's not.
Oh no, it's not. But I tell you what is a good film. Actually, 71. Have you seen it? It's about a
soldier.
A soldier gets
something like that really happened.
Yeah, but that was the first I'd gone. That's a fucking great show. Yeah, from here. You know, really good.
Yeah, I think if you sort of take it in a different aspect that way, but I would love. I think there's room there for a proper just like a love-hate Belfast version.
Yeah,
and I'll certainly play. If you want. Yeah. No, I want to play what do you call it? Nidge. Yeah, I want to play Nidge in it.
I think that would be a good show, but again, it's one of those things. If you were to make a gangster type thing, it has to be real and it has to be, you know, the gritty rather than the sort of all. So he did and all. So he says,
no,
you know,
just think, proper.
Yeah,
like, where are you going, you fucking fruit?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Like, see, have you seen the film about your man McGartland, the 50 Dead Men Walking? That wasn't. It was an alright watch. But see the book. The book was fucking great. But see all that, like all this informants and all.
Like when that came out, I was driving a taxi and there was people doing tours and they were going to me, oh man, I seen this, and I was like, listen, see Martin McGartland, he made himself out to be Rambo and that.
Yeah,
he wasn't. He definitely wasn't.
But I read a book, The Killing Rage. It's called. It's about what's the guy? The fella's name, but he was an informant in the Ra. And he was in Newry. He lived in Newry. Eamon Collins.
Killing for Britain? No.
No, it was Killing
for Britain was another one of them.
Yeah.
And your man had an ice cream van and all.
But this guy, like he had gone like full. His book was great, actually a good read. But then it ended basically saying like he moved. He was told not to go back to Newry, and he ended up. I think the head he was out walking his dog one night and they hit him in the car and then just stabbed him.
Is that him dead?
Yeah, dead. Like, but they stabbed him like a lot, like it was a brutal killing, like, and it did his face and all, so he couldn't have the casket and everything. But it was the whole thing was, it's the level of fucking like
infiltration.
It's mad. Like I just don't know how those boys would carry on with their day lives. They're not fucking shitting themselves every minute, every day. Be fucking couldn't do it. Be fucking.
I know, playing that double life.
Yeah.
But I think so many people back in the day played double lives, like you know, that way.
Like, see your man when you know whether it happened to this extent or not, but your man McGartland jumped out the window. Like, that's fucking scary bickies, like. And then you read all the stories, like, whenever there's that loyalist feud going on, you read all the shit going on, and you go, it's mad.
I know.
Like, and I remember, I'm probably best off telling you off the podcast, but I heard a story, long story short, there was someone murdered, and there was a list, police had a list of names, and out of all the names, they'd say 4 names, and they've all been shot. So they weren't able to, like, pinpoint it for it, but it's like, so my point is the knowledge of that's going on in paramilitary groups is good. It's wild, like, 100%, you know, it's wild.
The proper had it down to a T, like.
Yeah, and I see if you made something like that in the series or in the film, you'd have a fucking cracking, exciting show.
There you go.
You know, so there you have it. There's the name. I think that's a good place to actually end it, because we have more questions, but we could just sit here all day, I think. So that's a good one to end it. So Paddy, cheers for coming on. And where can people, if they haven't seen you, where can they find you, or what? Where you gigging? What your handles?
If maybe on social media, I'm on them all the platforms. Facebook, fucking TikTok, I'm just getting the grips with. My wee girl sent me down the other night and showed me. So I'm getting the grips at TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all them social medias. And I have a tour starting in Newcastle in September with 13 dates all around the country.
Very nice.
And then finishing up with the Waterfront, which obviously the one November sold out, but I've another one on the 9th of December, so get your tickets.
So I'll put the link for that down in the description.
And I have 2 shows coming up this week.
Well.
One Out the Back, which is the Dark Horse down Duke York.
Yes.
And that's sold out. And then next week is Limelight. No, the 18th, 2 weeks, is Limelight 1. It'll be sold out now.
There we go. So cheers for coming on, Paddy. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank
Take
you.
it easy.
I'm the Sly Guy.